you're looking at the tool, you'll see you basically have the first field is the Twitter account. So you put in the name. Ours was called Sokawatt. And time zone offset, because frankly, I spent an entire night trying to figure out how Twitter uses their UTC offset to calculate what time the message or the tweet is posted. For some reason, I just couldn't figure it out. It wasn't as easy as just doing an addition or subtraction. So basically forced the user to actually put in the UTC offset, which for like the East Coast is like -4, -5, whatever. So that's for the new user. The second one is for if you want to keep actually tracking their usage. So like we were talking about before, there's that restriction of 100 pages per hour. Well, let's say this person's been tweeting for several years. They're going to have a lot of messages that you need to archive. So what you can do is you can come back up to this home page and then just click submit once an hour until you actually download all that. Now, having said that, are you actually going to do that? No, probably not. You're just going to write a little cron job that just keeps pounding Twitter's server once an hour until you actually get all the messages. All right. So let's give it a shot. Actually, since we already did that, we're not actually going to show you how to actually do that, but... Oh, sorry. So since we already downloaded all the messages, we're not going to actually go through that process, but it's pretty simple. So here's the actual profiler, and this is from the screenshots. All right, so the profiler, you have the Twitter account that you're already following, and then you also give it a date. So you can give it, I want to know what my average energy usage is on a Thursday, or I want to know what my energy usage specifically was last Friday or something. I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but But basically, it actually plots what they're looking at, what their energy usage is. So visually, you can already see they're asleep for a bit, then it peaked. So basically, if we start from the beginning, they're awake like after midnight, then they went to sleep like around 1. Woke up around 8 o'clock, got ready for work, left for work, then got home from work. All right, so going back to this page. So basically what I wanted you guys to see from there is that visually you can actually inspect the peaks and the valleys if you want to see what they're doing. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So let's actually go into hopefully I can actually click on this. Did I get that right? That's iStalk. Let's do iStalk first. All right, Twitter account. Sokawatt. Date. I want to know what they're going to be doing on Friday. All right, can you guys see that? No?
Move the window to the right.
How about that? All right, so now we know, since this is stalk, we want to know when they are here and when they're awake. So we got these times. And then also, this is when they are sleeping. They're sleeping from, if I can read that correctly, 2 a.m. to about 8:15. Now, in the happy hunting section, we got location and directions. What do you guys think this does? Location. Now, like I said before, we didn't want to risk the demo on a bad network connection, so I just took a screenshot. But when we do release the tool in 2 days, basically the code is in there, and it can actually take the location and plot it based on GPS coordinates or some location. How about directions? So, you guys can probably guess where I was actually staying in my hotel this weekend. So basically, we plotted the directions from my hotel to basically this hotel, the Riviera. And like I said before, we're not trying to give away our own street address, but if you do actually look at the code and you download it in a couple days, you'll actually see that the source code to actually grab the data from Twitter, plot the coordinates, give directions for how to actually get to that person's place is actually in there. All right, now what else? All right, so say you're a pretty active stalker and you're kind of losing track of, all right, who am I stalking on Friday from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock? All right. Well, why not have an iCal? If you guys can see this down below, this is an iCal. All right, adding new events. Are we going to add it to our home calendar or our work calendar? Oh, shit. Sorry. So we're going to add it to our calendar. There we go. So, Sokawat is home and active. Times, location, direction. Now I know where to go next Friday. All right. Even better, when do you want to actually stalk them? Do you want to stalk them when they're home, active, they're cooking dinner, or do you want to stalk them when they're sleeping?
Sleeping.
All right. Got work already set up. And there we go. Sokawat is sleeping. And we now know that on Fridays, she's probably going to go to sleep around 2 a.m. Maybe she went out ladies' night on Thursday night. And then woke up like around 8:15, I believe. And location and directions to her place. And that is how you stalk someone on Twitter. All right.
So anecdotally, I mean, this seems like pretty obvious stuff. Something we did for the book that we didn't show here is Tony and I used scripts just like this, and he bet me $100 that, out of 5 tries, I wouldn't be able to get him more, when he was home or when he was not home, more than 3. This stuff, it's not rocket science, obviously, but when you apply some common sense to it, like, I know Tony's single, and I know it's a Friday night, and I have this information, or he uses TripIt, and I look at it, and he says he's not home. We went 5 for 5. So, again, this isn't like earth-shattering, but again, you profile it with other common sense information that you can find on MySpace or Facebook or even Twitter itself. So use that accordingly.
All right, so the last part of the tool is, of course, InRob. How are we actually going to make our money in order to stalk our women, right? So, Sokawat. Date. So let's give it 08-5. And we get about similar results. So, when are they not home? Or when are they sleeping? You guys can probably guess this. Again, location, direction, iCal, all this information, just download it, you're good to go.
That's it.
And that's it for the demo.
Don't walk away. You got to talk about what you're going to do when you get home.
All right. So my plans for the future, our plans for the future. Support for Facebook and MySpace. Like we showed earlier, you can you can send messages to Facebook, MySpace, all kinds of other social networking sites. Hopefully what I would like to do is start linking the multiple social networking accounts together. So you saw earlier how we found Chris Tweetawat's actual Twitter profile. What I would like to do is be able to start linking that to the other social networking accounts. So when we look at, all right, their energy usage has dropped on a Friday night at around 8 p.m., we automatically go over and check their Facebook account and see that they are going to some bar down the street, stuff like that. And then on top of that, for the actual burglary part, location-based searches. So in Twitter, you can actually do searches based on location. So if I were a robber, then I wouldn't want to go try to rob someone who's 3,000 miles away. What I want to do is I want to find people who are in my area. So doing these location-based searches, so instead of putting in some Twitter user ID, I just put in an address and it automatically comes back with all the people who are tweeting their energy usage. And most importantly, version 1, all the source code, everything you need to actually play around with this yourself will be available this week from my website.
So what now? If you remember back to the goals of the presentation, it wasn't to have rocket science come on in to this presentation. It's more of to get the decision makers involved and make them understand kind of where this thing's going and what needs to be done. So we came up with these 5 common sense control areas that I'm not going to bore anyone who's at this conference with. You can read that and interpret it yourself, like account name, don't make it Jake's Closet, Tweet-a-Watt, or wherever we saw. But so, what else? We'd like everyone here to get involved. I mean, we're up here doing something we think, it's not something very high-tech again, but it's something that we think needs to get out there before it hits mainstream, like the company in Germany that it hits over here, though. I want you to get involved by researching, bleeding, tweeting, blogging, or smoke signaling, or whatever else. And as I'm sure if, like me, you went to a bunch of the other talks this week on the smart grid, there's a lot worse stuff out there in terms of security. This seems like a pretty easy one that we can avoid or at least do properly. So, thanks. We're done.